Cole back on home ice after that extended road trip and, of course, that game against Rockford. Let's just touch on that first. Obviously, the shootout loss for you guys, but just how do you think you guys played in that game against Rockford?
Yeah, just touching on the trip, I think sometimes coming back, it's super nice to be back home, but maybe it takes a bit. I think it took us a period or so to sort of get our legs underneath us. They came out pretty hot, so we had to weather the storm a little bit there, but nice to tie it up late and end up getting at least 1 point and had our chances in overtime, just couldn't quite capitalize.
I mean, what did you notice most about your game overall? I mean, you just faced Rockford not that long ago, pretty much a week ago, and then faced them again. Just what sort of challenges or what sort of changes do you guys sort of make to try and get a more positive result in that game?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to change our game as much as just recognizing things that they do well. They're a really fast team from their D all the way through their forwards, and then a super skilled forward group. So I think trying to keep them to the outside, doing everything we can to slow them down and make them come 200 feet makes a big difference for us because they can move up and down the ice really well.
Jansen Harkins, of course, putting in two. He's a guy that you know prior from his time with the Moose back in 1920, obviously. But just what can you say about his game? What he brings to this squad? I mean, he seems like such an integral role just going into the last little stretch of games here.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly able to score basically in a lot of different ways too. He's got his breakaways, he's got his one-timers at the end of the last couple of games for us that have been huge. So just scoring those huge goals for us have been able to help us get extra points, and with this tight playoff race, it makes a really big difference for us.
It's kind of nice to have him back in the lineup too. Like we said, it's been a couple of years since you had probably played with him, but just to have him back in the fold, it's kind of nice to see a familiar face too.
Yeah, it's fun. It was 4 years ago. We started out playing together, so there aren't too many guys left from that time, but yeah, we had some good times back then, so it's nice to have Harks back around.
How exciting is it, like you said, this sort of playoff race here? I mean, the top three in the standings, you yourself, Milwaukee and Texas. I mean, there seems to just be movement almost every day in those standings. So how exciting is it for this push to the playoffs, just to have so much movement and potentially even to get first place still in the division?
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really exciting. I think every day you come in and the standings are in a different spot. You could be in first, you could be in third, you could be in second. It moves around so much, so it makes all these games are super meaningful for us. And then we try and focus on us, but obviously you look around the league just to try and make sure that you're keeping pace. It's really fun, and it's super different from last year where we were sort of on a bit of an island and you were sort of just getting into looking forward to playoffs. Now these games are so important to see where you're going to finish.
What do you think that does for the development of yourself and maybe some of the younger guys too? I mean, just to have these type of games just to sort of get you set for the Calder Cup playoffs. Some guys might not have had Calder Cup playoff experience like you have from last year, but what do you think that does just to get guys set for the actual thing when the postseason does come around?
Yeah, you can't really create an environment that sort of resembles the playoffs like that, except for these super meaningful games. So I think it almost, sort of like what you said, almost gives you a little bit of playoff experience without quite being there yet.
And then getting set to go again tomorrow, what are you expecting? What sort of changes do you have to make to get the full 2 points instead of just the one?
Yeah, I don't think too many huge changes from us. We watched a little bit of video this morning, just some little things to touch up on, but just sticking with our game, playing our game, and doing our best to slow them down.